Live from the Hits One, Miami Beach House. He's a great friend of the show. He's a great friend of mine. You actually helped get my job here at SiriusXM, which we want to talk about. Enrique Iglesias, what's going on, man?
How you doing? What's up?
What's up? Welcome to the Beach House. First off, I got to thank you because a lot of people don't know this story.
I don't think I know it either.
I didn't tell you this story?
No, you didn't.
So a long time, well, not a long time ago, like a year and a half ago, a year and a half I've been here, I get a call from the boss, Big Scott, okay? And Big Scott asked me, hey, quick interview, right? Quick interview on the phone. Very fast talker. He's like, hey, so tell me about you in Miami. How long you been here? Who are some people that I can call for references? Like, are there celebrities that you know? And I'm like, yeah. And this is just off the top. Keep in mind, I had a few drinks. I'm like, call Enrique. Just out of the blue. Yeah, go ahead and call Enrique. He called you, right?
He called me right there. I mean, I don't know if you were in front of him or he called me the next day or that night.
I DM'd him and I'm like, hey, just so you know, the boss of SiriusXM is going to call you. I use you as a reference.
Yeah.
But I think I got the call before I got your DM.
Oh, see? So you,
wow,
yeah, and then
he was
sent
fast.
Me a note. He sent me a note like, yep, I already vouched for you. Yeah. So you got me my job here. Thank you so much.
I'm happy for you.
I owe you. So
you
whatever
deserve
you
it. Are you kidding me?
We're just playing Enrique all day today, just for that. Just for that alone.
Just for one day?
For the whole week. I think he deserves the whole week. Come on now.
He's like, that's all it's worth? Just one day?
One day? Come on, man. I've known you for, 15 years already?
Something like 15. Time flies, man. Time flies. And you just wrapped up a huge tour with Pitbull, Ricky Martin. I saw you out. I saw you right there.
And he saw you
I
right there.
saw you. We were just talking about that.
Yeah, and you get asked this question all the time, though, right? With like, hey, did you notice me in the audience?
I do. A lot of people always ask me, can you actually see people when you're up on stage? And in this case in particular, for the Miami show or the Sunrise show,
yeah.
I saw you walking down the stairs, and I think you had 4 beers in your hands.
You know what? That's an accurate description. Yes.
You were smoking something?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was burning. That wasn't me. Clearly,
he was caught like a deer in the headlights.
Sorry, you weren't smoking.
You know what happens? You know what happens tomorrow?
A cigar.
Mac loses the job at SiriusXM.
That Enrique helped him get.
Yeah, that's what's gonna happen.
A cigar. You're allowed to smoke cigars.
That's a cigar. Are you a cigar guy? Do you smoke
cigars?
cigars?
No, I don't smoke.
No, not at all.
Smoke.
Okay.
I drink.
You drink Atlantico.
Yeah. I drink a little bit of rum, actually. Quite a little bit of rum. Okay. Vodka. When I go on vacation.
Yeah, what's your drink of choice on vacation?
I like beer. Okay. I like vodka. I like anything with alcohol.
How do you stay so fit though? If you're drinking beers, crushing beers, I mean, do you exercise
I don't drink
a lot?
that much beer, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I guess mix it with Sprite Zero, Coke Zero. A lot of people always see me do like drink rum with Coke Zero. Or vodka with Coke Zero. Right.
Do you like? We asked this earlier too when you jumped in here. Do you like being at home? Do you like not being on the road? Is that?
It's conflicting because, and I say this because now I have a family. I have kids. I have 3 kids, and of course my wife. And I love being on stage. I love being connected to my fans once I'm on stage. The process of getting on the plane, going to a hotel sometimes can be a little bit like, oh man, I miss my family so much. Especially the first few days is pretty tough.
Right.
So you could say I am a homebody, but I love being on stage. That's why it's a little bit confusing.
And I mean, it was 43 shows. Did they join you at any point?
They did. My kids didn't because they're still 6 and 4. I have twins that are 6 years old and 4, and it's a little too much to be on the road. It's already a lot of stress just moving from place to place, and every day you're packing up, you're moving from one hotel to another hotel. I don't like to be in tour buses, so I basically just get to a hotel, I just crash. And then the next day I wake up, pack up my bags, and go to the next show. It's pretty grueling. I mean, I know that tour is a lot of people think it's so glamorous and so cool, and the stage part is, but the actual travel and what comes with it, what goes with it.
Right.
And when you get to the show, usually, for example, I'll get to the venue and I'll just get there for sound check at 4 or 3, and you don't go on till like 10 or 10:30, so you're there for 6 hours
just waiting around.
I feel like I'll still be recovering right now.
Man, after
I think it takes months of recovery after.
It does. It actually, this tour took a little bit of a toll on me because I could just tell after the tour, I was like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I'm gonna need like 2 months to recover. Yeah.
When you look back at all the songs, I mean, and you just put out the final volume 2.
Yeah, my final album.
Final album.
Yep.
When you look back at all those songs and the career that you've had so far, I mean, it's just, have you ever sat there and taken it all in?
Yeah, I have. I mean, I think about it a lot of times. Um, yeah, I just feel like I'm blessed. I'm lucky. I'm fortunate. I've worked a lot. I've been, you know me.
Yeah.
I
You're a
basically
workhorse.
lived in the studio my whole life, and I love to write music. To me, it's like therapy. But it's cool to look back at the songs that I've written, and just say, okay, well, this I would have done different, or this
Right.
I would have gone a little bit. I would have, I wish it would have been this way or that way or
Right.
whatever. But then you look at the ones that connected with the audience. And that connected with my fans, and it's just so gratifying.
Yeah. Is there a song that you were surprised that it did so well over your career? Like, there's tons of them, but like one in particular, you're like, well, we made this in the studio, and it was kind of like, this is gonna be okay.
So many of them too.
But, yeah,
like
there's
that's
so
a real
many.
hard question.
That's actually a really good question. I've never felt that there was a song that I released that I thought was gonna flop and became a hit.
Interesting.
Now, I have released songs that I thought were going to be hits, but were flops.
Interesting. And I'm actually curious because a lot of artists say, okay, this is my final album.
Sorry,
I'm not going to make any music.
Yeah. No.
No, you answered
Oh,
it.
did I say that? I'm just trying to make sure.
No, you answered it.
But I've released a lot of songs, that I've done that have not done well, which is okay, but that's part of the process.
Yeah.
To me, that's. I mean, when you first write your first... Sorry, I cut you off.
No, go ahead. Go.
I'm
Finish
in
your
my
thought.
ADD moment.
Finish your thought. I'll
No,
rephrase
finish
it
it.
again.
No,
Finish your thought. Go
that,
ahead.
I mean, that's to me the process of writing. It's your baby. When you write it, or when you're a co-writer on a song, you always think if you're excited about it, you're like, oh my God, this is so great, this is so great, and you get so hyped up. And then eventually, if it doesn't do well, you feel bad, but you're like, okay, life goes on,
Yeah.
Maybe it's, if it doesn't connect with people, that means people didn't really like it,
True.
I know you guys always give it a chance.
Yeah.
And you're going to be playing my music, what'd you say?
Yes, of course. For a whole week, yes.
For a whole
For a week.
It's Enrique week here. This one.
In case you didn't know, now
In
you
case you
know.
didn't know, it is Enrique week. But go ahead.
Yeah, so what I was asking is, so a lot of artists say, okay, this is my last album, I'm gonna retire, and then they come back like 10 years later. Do you think that's kind of like, that's a possibility for you?
Well, 10 years later, I'm going to be dead probably.
No, what do you mean?
No, I'm kidding. Not too sound.
You get more inspiration.
I don't want to sound pessimistic, but I've never really planned my life that far ahead. I knew this was going to be my last album. Now, I've always said, and I made it very clear, that it's not going to be the last time that I record or write a record, or write a song. I just don't want to make albums anymore. Because the process for me for making an album, I don't know how it is for other artists, but I'll write or I'll record 150 songs. And then you gotta deliver 10 songs. And I just don't want to do that. I want to go now one step at a time in my life, in that sense, when it comes onto my music. If I write a song that I like, let's put it out, let's put it out. But let's not wait for the whole process of making an album. I think I've released, I want to say 13 albums, between 12 and 13 albums. If you include all the compilations that technically the record company tells you, hey, you have to do 3 songs for this one and 3 songs for that one. That's so that's where I am in my life now. If I write a song, I don't think I need albums. In my case, I know other artists, and if you're up and coming or whatever, everybody's different. There's no rules about music. That's what's so cool.
Yeah, I also feel like nowadays it's almost like we live in a singles world too. For many artists, like if people hear a song, they're like, "Oh, that's cool," and then you can release another single later on, or nobody's really, at least in my experience in talking to me, nobody's expecting a full album at times.
Yeah,
they love the song, especially what's on TikTok.
And then they know you because of that song. So you make another one, or you make an album, and they're probably like, "Who's this person?" Like they just know that one song.
Yeah. I'll give you an example. I've always said this, even to the label. I said, "Hey, so if you had to pick, a great body of work, whatever, but if there's none of those songs connect or resonate with your audience or your fans, maybe they do for me, but not for, the rest of the people don't connect with those songs, but what if you just have one song that that you really feel like it?" That's why, going back to what you guys said before, the ones that really clicked, like Hero, Bailamos, Tonight, I Like It, now going back in time, Bailando, you go back to those songs, and I'm like, man, if you really compare those to the other ones, they just had something special, you know, that you just knew. You're like, man, with I Like It, Joel was with me. Joel's, we used to work together, and we're working together now years after, since 2010. And I remember going to his office and playing I Like It. And I'm like, man, I'm willing to bet my whole career in this song. I mean, it's to the point that I'm willing to change labels. At the time I was with Interscope, and I can say this again, I don't think it matters. I mean, Interscope didn't really believe in the song. And thankfully, I was in a company where I was able to choose a different record label. In this case, Universal Republic. So I met with Joel and with Monty. There were the bosses there, and they listened to the song. They actually flew down to Miami. I played them the whole album, and immediately said, "This is a song we want to go with." So there was an immediate connection musically. I'm like, man, you guys are on the same page as me.
That's cool.
And I bet everything, because I was actually moving from a record company that I had been with for 12 years, which was a very difficult decision to make.
Wow.
So I have a lot of friends there still.
But what's amazing, and I think it'd be nerve-wracking for me, is like when you sit there and you're playing the music for people in a smaller room. Is that get nerve-wracking?
You try to
like when
read
you're
their
like,
expression.
Hey, I'm gonna have you listen to the whole album, and they're sitting there, and you're like,
you're trying to understand them,
you're trying
looking
to
at their
understand the
face.
facial expressions. He looked
No.
at his phone. They just took a bite of pizza, and it's like, okay, well, they
Are
might
they
have not liked
vibing
it.
or are they not?
No, it's not. Actually, you know what? It's not nerve-wracking. That's actually the place, usually those type of meetings, is where I analyze the song in a good way, where I say, you know what? This doesn't feel, and not because of how they react. Because I don't want to say all record companies. I don't want to say all record companies are the same, but they're usually like this. There's a movie that way.
Really? Neither
Roxbury.
Not at the Roxbury, you know. No. Get them to the Greek.
Oh, get him the Greek.
Get them to the Greek.
Oh, yeah,
but the whole label's sitting there, and they're all like going,
Yeah, I like it. I like
this
it.
is really good, you know. So it's
funny.
actually kind of like. It's a little bit like that.
I'll never watch Get Him to Greek the same. Honestly,
great film.
honestly. Space in My Heart. Talking about songs. Space in My
But the
Heart.
same. Sorry to cut
Yeah,
you
yeah,
off.
go.
The same thing comes to when you do those radio meetings when you play for radio. Like, although maybe a little more real. You guys,
A little more real.
I mean, because usually less people, whatever. But
More
Honestly, they're
intimate.
just excited to get a selfie. That's what it is. They're just like, let me just go ahead one photo, put it on the gram. That's all I want. I'll bop to anything.
probably.
One thing I will tell you, and I'm always honest with you, I like Space in My Heart with Miranda Lambert. I think there is that something there.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, obviously you feel that way. You put it out.
It's a song that I wrote in 2016.
What?
Yeah, I wrote it in 2016, and there's a cool story that back in 2018, they actually, her camp, she reached out to me and she said, hey, can we record together? And I'm like, sure, send me a song. And we just went back and forth. And last year, I'm like, you know what? I have this song that I should send to Miranda to see if she likes it. And I called her up. I go, I'm going to send you this song called Space in My Heart. And immediately she called me back. And she said, I love it. I'll go into the studio tomorrow. And most of the collabs that I've done in the past, which I love doing collaborations, especially with people, with artists that come from different musical backgrounds, like whether it be Pitt, whether it be Miranda, whoever.
Like country,
I love it because it takes me on different directions, and I get to hear their feedback. And in this case, it was one of those things. Whether it's a hit or not a hit,
right.
I love that process.
You said you had it since 2016. I'm just imagining a box of like songs.
He has a
that you
box of
haven't
songs?
released.
I think they're in a computer.
I know, not a computer, but I just had like a mental image of like a box full of like songs.
That's the
haven't
way.
been
By the way,
released yet.
cassettes.
I mean, some people are a little old school, maybe they like to
no,
actually
you're not
write
wrong.
it.
That's the way I used to tell my songs maybe
Exactly.
like 5 years ago. Nowadays, things
Now,
have
yeah,
changed.
you
I
put
just
it
picture you in the trunk of your car being like, hey, here's all these
in the
CDs I
closet,
got.
in a little box. I don't know. It just came to my mind.
That's it.
So
do you have a favorite song that you love to perform live? Because when I saw you at Sunrise, there's not anybody there that did not know your songs word from word. And that's not gassing you up. It's just they're fans of yours. They're super fans, which I want to talk about in a minute. But a song that you love.
I mean, it goes. Every show is different, but there's moments that I love. Whether it's what I like about my set list. I'm talking about my own set list, but but what am I going to say? But I do love singing them and then thinking, man, Bailando is so different to tonight. Tonight is so different to Hero. Hero is so different to Cuando Me Enamoro, which is a Spanish song. I have so many Spanish songs, so many English songs, so many Spanglish songs. I like the diversity. I like how different they are. But there's always that moment in the set that there's songs that you just know. Like, for example, I Like It is like an adrenaline shot. You know that the minute the intro comes in, you know, and that's basically why I wrote the song. That's a song that I wrote with Red One, and we were in my house, and we'd been writing for 6 months, and we were just stuck. And I fell asleep. I had this. Am I talking too much?
No.
I know the
Go
story
ahead.
about this.
We're entertained. You got to.
So I fell asleep in my couch. We're writing my house, and he starts playing this intro, and I just get up. I'm like, and I start singing the melody. Girl, please, and I just started coming up with the lyrics. I'm like,
amazing.
Dude, this is it. And I had, you know. And by the way, that song I wrote in 2007, and it didn't come out till 2010.
You're just sitting on bangers. You just what do you
Yeah.
got? What do you got in your car right now?
That was the only banger that I had. I was just hoping it. That didn't work. I was like, that's it.
Talking about the concerts, you have so many passionate fans. Have you ever had like a very strange request?
No, nothing really
Nothing
strange.
strange?
No.
No stalker, nothing like that?
No, I mean, stalkers I've had plenty, but
Okay.
but I look at it.
My restraining orders up.
Yeah, I was like, wait, tell us the craziest
no
one.
restraining orders. I mean,
No.
stories.
Yeah.
I had a fan that hid underneath my dressing room table for 8 hours with her little sister, and once I was done with the show, I went back to the dressing room, and she was scared of coming out of underneath the table. It was like 1 a.m. and she finally came out with her little sister. It's like, I'm so sorry. I just felt so bad. I just wanted a picture or whatever.
And how do you know she was like in there?
I didn't. I
you
didn't
didn't
know.
at all?
I didn't know
She
until
just came out of nowhere?
She missed the whole show. And
Just waiting for
She
you.
was waiting. I mean, so
Wow.
she didn't. I mean, but she was there
Yeah.
during the show and before the show. But she got scared because she's like, oh man, I'm basically breaking and entering.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh
yeah.
my God, it's so creepy.
And then I had a fan also one time that swam across the bay to my house, and she was so sweet. She was so cool. You know, I've never really felt endangered
Okay.
or threatened. And she was, you know, she was just. I mean, she could have died crossing the bay swimming, but she got to my house and I just got to talk to her, and I called the parents and I say, hey, I mean,
Your kids
you
swam
know,
in my
She's like,
house.
was she athletic? She was like,
you know, she's
"What?"
like, you gotta make sure, you gotta be careful, you know,
Yeah.
that she doesn't get hurt. But she was a sweetheart. I don't ever feel stalked.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if I have, it's not usually from a fan.
Yeah.
It's usually
usually
from
from
somebody
just,
that's
like-
actually could be dangerous. I mean, so
Yeah.
far I've been fortunate enough.
That's just been fun. That's funny though. Instead of getting like a paddleboard, let me just swim across
Is that
the
what
bay.
your plan is later?
No.
Just look out for Jen on the kayak.
But there's
She'll
so
be
many
there.
options, right?
There's so many options.
There's options.
Please don't give people
I
ideas.
always think about that, right?
people
If you really want to meet someone,
There's
come
a
on.
way. Where there's
always
a will,
always
there's
a
a
way.
way.
Exactly.
Clearly.
Uber Eats driver. I mean, now we're giving people ideas. Sorry. You know, going off the whole passionate thing. I mean, I've seen you at shows where you'll kiss a fan.
Yeah.
Does Anna ever get jealous of
Not
that?
at all.
Not at
No,
all.
no,
Okay.
no.
All right. Cool.
No.
Because my wife was asking.
No, it's because a lot of people, like Anna will be in one of my shows, and I'll do that.
Yeah.
I do that all the time. I love embracing and kissing and just hugging my fans. I like getting close up, you know. And a lot of times she tells me, man, I always get this look from some of the girls or some of the ladies. Are you okay with it?
Right.
It's like, yeah, I'm totally cool. He's on stage. He's just
He's a performer.
He's
and he's
performing,
embracing his
exactly.
fans.
Yeah.
Right. That's. I mean, I love to get so much love from my fans, and I know that if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be where I am.
And that's beautiful. And we
That's
hope
beautiful.
this is not the last album. We hope we hear more, like you said before.
Well, it is the last album.
Last album.
It's not
but
the
not
last
the
album.
last
It's not the
song.
last
No.
album.
There we go.
Jen's got it.
I got it.
Enrique, thank you so much for your time, man. It's
Thank
always good seeing you,
you.
bro.
Man, so good to hear you guys. So good to see you guys.